Central Valley High School families, I'm Carrie Ames, the proud principal of this school. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Our goal is to provide you with important information regarding our reopening and provide you an opportunity to ask questions. Please utilize the Q&A feature on this webinar. I'd also like to introduce Alex Evans, who will be our moderator and help us with gathering questions. We will do our best to answer all of the questions that we gather tonight, but please know there may be some time where we need to get back to you. It's really important that we answer all of your questions tonight. So thank you so much. This evening, you will see a theme throughout our presentation, one that our staff has embraced over the last few years: strong, kind, and committed. As a school community, city, state, and nation, we have found ourselves in the middle of a global pandemic. This difficult time will forever be scarred on our families and our community. Please know this, at Central Valley High School, we miss our kids. We miss the action, the pace, and all of the wonderful adventures high school brings to our students and to our larger community. As we move forward together, we must embrace not only the words of strong, kind, and committed, but the actions. Together we will show strength, we will demonstrate kindness and grace, and we will stay committed to our purpose and to the work that is in front of us. It's my pleasure to introduce tonight our panel. Tim Tetterud, Assistant Principal, Robin Barnhart, Assistant Principal, Katie Louie, Assistant Principal, Trish Campbell, Assistant Principal, and also as an Assistant Principal this year, we have Grady Emerson, who may be offline. He is doing a wonderful job helping us with the transition to Ridgeline High School next year. Thank you all for being here. Tonight, our agenda topics will include COVID key points and protocols, parent information, student highlights, student schedule information, counseling services, our panorama survey, athletics and activities, and our building communication system. And again, an opportunity for questions and answers. Our COVID key points and protocols, as a reminder, Central Valley School District is phasing in reopening. We're following the Department of Health, and we're also ready to embrace your kids as we bring them back. I wanted to make a few notes today. We have had many questions regarding why A, B, C, D. As you know, our school has almost 2,300 students. We have 14 portables in the back. When we brought the portables on, we weren't able to add any core space, including bathrooms or places for our kids to eat. Each day we will have 450 to 550 students on campus. We want to do it right. We want our kids to be safe, and it is our goal to eventually get to an A-B schedule when it is safe to do so. Again, if you've been with us over the last few years, you know that we're opening Ridgeline next year. In large part due to overcrowding in our current high schools. This building was meant for 1,600 kids, and many of our students have been eating in the hallways, in classrooms, and all over the place. So we're very excited for Ridgeline to open, but I also wanted you to have that information as the questions have come in as to why we're moving to an A, B, C, D schedule rather than immediately to an A, B schedule. Tim Tetterud.
Tim, I believe you're muted.
Good evening. I'm going to spend a little time going over the reopening plan handbook. And if you can click on the link that will share this booklet. Our hope is that giving you information, it will help you reduce any anxiousness you or your child might have as you're coming back in person. And at the start of the day, there will be 3 entrances where students will enter. The south side of the building is where students who will ride buses will enter. We are encouraging that all parents drive their child to CV to the greatest extent possible. But if they are riding the bus, they'll need to make sure that they have their attestation form signed by a parent or guardian to verify that your child does not have any COVID-19 symptoms. So as you can see on this map, the south side is by the theater entrance. The next entrance that'll be open is for walkers, bikers, and students who get dropped off, and that will be on the north side, which is the gym entrance. Once school begins, the north and the south entrances will be closed, and then any late arrivals will enter through the main entrance, and they'll go through the COVID screening there. When students come into the building, a staff member will take their attestation form and make sure it is filled out, and then they'll have their temperature taken. If a student's temperature happens to be 99.4 or above, we'll take them to a secondary screening room where a nurse will follow up with them. So now that your child's gone through the COVID screening station, they'll head directly to their classroom, and we're asking students to only bring necessary items for their classes, put in a backpack. We're not going to be checking out lockers this year, and so just keep that in mind. Another thing that we're asking is that they bring their Chromebook or their personal device daily. And then the other point is our fountains are turned off, but we have a great water bottle fill station. And so if your child wants to bring a water bottle, that would be great. Inside the classroom, your child will find the desks are 6 feet apart. Teacher will be keeping a seating chart, and students and staff will be wearing masks at all times. Something else your student will notice is in the hallways, we'll have one-way traffic. This is to minimize any unnecessary movement in the building. So this will take a little getting used to for all of us, but we will be out in the hallways that first week, just helping with the flow of traffic. On this booklet, can you go to the Class A symptoms and the Class B symptoms? So last thing I want to highlight in this booklet is the Class A symptoms and the Class B symptoms. If a student has any Class A symptoms or 2 or more Class B symptoms of any duration, or more than one Class B symptom lasting more than 24 hours, a student must isolate for 10 days after symptoms onset, unless a student gets a negative PCR COVID test, or a healthcare provider provides documentation of alternate diagnosis that explains all symptoms without performing a COVID test. If a student has one Class B symptom lasting less than 24 hours, then the student must isolate for at least 24 hours and then can come back. So I would like to invite everyone to our packet pickup, which is this Wednesday from 3 to 5, or Thursday from 4 to 6. And inside that packet will be the booklet, because I know you might not be seeing it real well on the screen. It'll have this booklet in there, attestation tickets for the first 5 days, a picture packet, and then a in-person learning parent agreement. Before I go, so we're gonna have a staggered release time at the end of the day. And so if you are a walker, you will be released at 11:50, student drivers at 11:55, and then students being picked up at 12, and then bus riders will be dismissed at 12:05. On the way out, if a student wants a lunch, they can grab one. We're calling our grab and go lunch. They'll also have breakfast and lunch for the remaining days that your child is not at school. So that goes through the parent handbook, the pickup days, the commitment and expectations points is we'll have health screening at school. We'll be checking the attestation tickets, double checking temperatures, social distancing, keeping students in safe groups, keeping you informed, and classroom and school cleaning. Some things that you can do to help us is just have that conversation about supporting and wearing the mask at school, supporting social distancing. This can be really hard with students who haven't seen each other for a while, and so we're still need to be practicing that safe 6 feet. Hand washing, sanitizing at home. Become familiar with those symptoms at class A and B, and if your child is not feeling well, please keep them home. And again, listen, love, encourage positivity. We're so excited for your students to come back, and I know there's time of anxiousness, and if there's any further or follow-up questions, feel free to reach out to one of us so that we can answer that for you. Thank you.
While this time has been incredibly hard for our students, I think it's important to note some of the highlights that they have accomplished over the last 9 months. I want to give a shout out to Leanne Donnelly and her ASB leadership students. While they lost homecoming and many traditional events, they found ways to support their fellow students, their community, and their staff members. A few of them are listed on the slides, but we thought it would be much better for you to hear from the kids directly. We could cue up the video, please.
Thanks for bearing with us.
Hello, everybody. It is Hannah Schaefer reporting live from Central Valley High School, where it looks like it is springtime with a rainbow over the school.
And I'm Maddie Owens, and I'm reporting live from my bedroom because I don't know how to do Zoom backgrounds.
So this semester in leadership and just in school in general, we really focused on creating a sense of belonging in the community and especially in the virtual setting. So Maddie, do you want to tell us what you did first quarter to kind of accomplish that and work through that?
Yeah, so first quarter was like, oh my gosh, like figuring it all out. But we did some super awesome stuff. We did a virtual club fair, and that turned out really well. Tons of club advisors sent videos saying why you should join their club. And a lot of them said that they got more participation online than they get like in person. So that was really cool. That was a super big success. There were over 2,500 hits on the page for it. So that was really successful. And then we had a super successful food drive, and we partnered up with U-High for it. It went so well. We exceeded all of our goals. We raised $15,000 and 5,300 pounds of food, and that went so well. It was a ton of clubs too that participated in it, like Honor Society, I think DECA, a ton of different clubs that did it. So that was really well. That went really well, and that was a good way for us to come together. And then, sorry, and then we had like a stay homecoming week. That was really fun. We couldn't do an in-person Spirit Week, obviously, so we did a virtual one and had virtual dress-up days, and we did a Kahoot, and that was really fun and really successful. I dressed up every day, so that was super fun.
Me too.
Virtually, tons of activities did what they could given the circumstances. I know I'm in theater, in case you couldn't tell by all the posts. I'm in theater, and we did radio plays, and those were really fun. And they're filming a movie right now, and that's going to be super cool. So just a ton of things, like figuring it out, all the bumps and bruises. But I think we had a really good first quarter as far as all that was concerned. So Hannah, do you want to go ahead and tell us what you did second quarter?
Yeah, so I think first quarter was also a great success, and so was second quarter. So we started off by really trying to focus on the seniors because I guess we didn't quite get the senior year that we were expecting, to say the least, or what we had dreamed of. So we just kind of did whatever we could to make seniors feel loved and welcomed and like they belong at CV. So we had teachers hand out little goodie bags with shirts and stickers and the fight song in it. So that was super cool, and it was so nice to see teachers' faces. And right now we're also working on doing a class Bitmoji picture because we can't do like a full senior class picture together. So we're doing all of the seniors Bitmojis, and it's going to be very practical for the virtual setting that we're in right now. And then we also did a holiday spirit week, which was super fun. We did a holiday Kahoot, and every day it was ugly holiday wear. So that was really fun, just to celebrate all the holidays and kind of just have a little fun start to our winter break. And then also we did a student gratitude week, which was so fun, and I absolutely loved it. It just really gave teachers and students the opportunity to recognize the kids in their class, like what they've accomplished, especially in the virtual setting. It's just been really tough on a lot of people, so that was nice to recognize kids for their great accomplishments. And then last week, we actually did a mental health awareness week, and we really just focused on giving kids the idea that they're not alone, because a lot of kids are struggling right now. So we focused on giving coping strategies and just to kind of help them realize that no matter what, they're a bear and they're never alone. And then we also, one of my personal favorites was we did a toy drive, and we did that with U High, and we raised 16,000 toys just at CV. So absolutely amazing, so fun. And we just gave back to the community a lot, so that was awesome. And then tomorrow on Tuesday, we are actually doing freshman tours at the school for all the new freshmen that are coming in, and I cannot wait. And even though we're going to be really far away from each other and have our face masks on and probably won't recognize anyone, I still can't wait. And then even to go along with that, we're going to have name tags for all the kids that come back to school. So when you don't recognize kids, you at least have that. So yeah, that's what we did all second quarter. And I can't wait to see what we do for the rest of the year, because this is all new and uncharted territory. So yeah, we got this no matter what. No matter what happens, we're in this together. We're going through this new experience.
Yep.
Yeah, so yeah, I can't wait to see where this goes.
Me too. All right, can't wait to see you all. Bye.
Bye.
So as you can see, our students have done incredible things in the face of this pandemic, and I'm very excited for their work and to see what they're going to continue to do with our freshmen. As you can see on the highlights and what the ladies had mentioned with anything from Bearcast to mental health awareness weeks, our freshmen welcome, our seniors, we know our seniors, we're missing them. We have plans for them. The holiday spirit week, stay homecoming, and may I have the next slide, please? Also, I think to note the area of community service, our food bank needs us. They need us every year, and we were so excited that even while we were virtual this year, we met the goal and raised a lot of money, and so we're just really proud of our kids. Katie Louie.
Thanks, Carrie. Can I have the next slide, please? One more. Thank you. Student schedules. We know that all students are curious about their schedules and when they will come to campus and how they will be supported academically. This is always a big topic. Please know that we are committed to serving each and every student. Our scheduling for third and fourth quarters this year will be unique and a little bit different from our typical scheduling process. Our counseling team is very committed to each student and has been working incredibly hard to ensure each and every student has every class they need. They have been going through each schedule one at a time to properly place the students. Many of our students are going to notice some changes in their schedules from first and second quarter. In a typical year, it is likely that a student would have the same teacher for both semesters of a Spanish course or a math course and so forth. In our current reality, however, that is not always going to be possible. There are a few contributing factors to these changes this year. First, about 10 days ago, each student was given an opportunity to update their learning preference. We are working to adjust schedules to account for students that prefer to be in person and those who desire a self-paced model. With the exception of a few specialty courses, these are separate classes so that we can best serve students. Additionally, some of our staff members have been assigned to these self-paced courses to offer more targeted support of students in this learning option. These teachers are committed to serving students who are self-paced, and our in-person teachers will be able to focus on students who opted for a more direct instruction model. Lastly, we are working to balance classes so that we can safely bring students back to campus. We have to take into consideration the size of our classrooms and social distancing requirements, which means we may need to adjust some schedules to have the appropriate number of people in a room. We are committed to the safety of our students and staff. We appreciate your understanding of the schedule adjustments if and when they happen. Student schedules are always most accurate in PowerSchool. We will send out a reminder later this week to check your student's schedule after our counseling team has finalized adjustments. Please be sure to follow the schedule outlined on PowerSchool when Q3 starts next week. We do have some students who are coming on campus to access their special programs and services. These will continue in a similar fashion for quarters 3 and 4, and you will be receiving individualized communication regarding transportation and specific on-campus information. You can also reach out to your case manager if you have any additional questions. For students who selected Learning Option 1, will be coming on campus next quarter, please be sure to follow the assigned cohorts by last name. Any day your student is not on campus, they will be attending classes virtually. For students in the same family with different last names, please reach out to your counselor and we will do our best to accommodate you in the same cohort. Their contact information will be listed on an upcoming slide should you need it. At this point, Tricia Campbell, would you like to give some more information about our counseling services?
Yes, thank you, Katie. So as Katie already mentioned, our counselors have been working very hard on scheduling, but there are so many other services that they also offer your students, and we want to make sure that you are aware of those during this time. They have been sending out a monthly Counseling Corner newsletter that has a lot of resources and information for you and your students. They use Google Classrooms for all of their grade level communication. So you want to make sure that your student is signed up for that, and the classroom join codes that they need for each of the classes are on our website if your student has not joined yet. And they join using their CVSD Google email address. Our counselors also provide career and college counseling services, and as well as ongoing mental health support. And really, it's about doing whatever it takes to help our students be successful during this time, whether it's home visits, virtual visits with them, providing food for our families who are in need during this time, and really just doing whatever they can to advocate. So please take advantage of those services. And then if the next slide, we just want to review who your students' counselors are. For our 9th and 11th graders, your counselors are Jeff Smith, Kara Twining, and Mary Nacarado. And the next slide, for our 10th and 12th graders, our counselors are Heidi Averett, Larry Birnbaum, Megan McMurtry, and then Corey Anderson is our college and career counselor for all of our students. And their contact info is also on our website. So we can move on to the next slide. We wanted to say just a little bit about the Panorama survey because we have had some questions from parents, and it was a survey that we gave to our students in December. The survey asked questions related to students' social, emotional competency and their well-being, and all 9th through 12th graders in the district were invited to take it. And knowing that this has been a difficult year in so many different ways for our students, we wanted to survey them and find out more about how they were feeling and what they needed to support their emotional health and well-being. The survey asked questions about supportive relationships in and out of school, their connectedness connectedness to school, what things made them feel happiest, and what things were the hardest for them right now. And for our high school, we had over 1,500 responses, which we were so pleased with. And so it's given us a lot of information that we will be using this year and beyond this year to inform our work with your students. And we just wanted to share one of the really bright spots in the survey results was around supportive relationships outside of school. 92% of our students that took the survey said that they had a family member or an adult outside of the school that they could go to for help no matter what. And that says so much about the strength of our families and our CV community. And we wanted you to know that your students notice when you tell them that you love them no matter what, and you will be there for them no matter what. They are listening and they know it. So thank you for that. They also told us that some things are hard for them, and two areas that our school data team has identified and looking through the data is their feeling of their sense of belonging at CV High School, at school, and also their sense of self-efficacy, which is really their sense of believing in themselves and feeling like they have the abilities to meet their goals and solve problems. So those are two things that as a school we are going to be focusing on helping our students with this year. And we also want you to look for more information to come about the survey results and also ideas and resources that we'll be sharing with our families to help build your students' overall emotional and social well-being. And I think next is Robin.
Thanks, Tricia. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for being here tonight. And so excited to get to talk about athletics. We are really looking forward to starting up on February 8th. We are in season 1, and the state is currently in phase 1. So we have protocols and guidelines we need to follow for all of our athletics. Like I said, volleyball starts February 8th. Registration for all of our season 1 sports is online. So the website is up there. You should have also received a Blackboard that had that link to it, so you could get your kids registered. Volleyball then is followed by football. February 15th it will start, and then on February 22nd we start with cross country, both girls and boys, and then also girls soccer. Being in phase 1 means we are limited to competitions only for those sports that are low risk outside sports. So at this point, that is cross country only. We'll have the other sports, these practices will count toward their preparation as soon as competition does start. So we'll be ready and raring to go as soon as we move on to that phase 2 and get to have competitions in the other sporting events. The seasons 2 and 3 have not yet been determined. We are meeting again this Wednesday, and we will continue to do so about every week or every other week. These decisions are based on input and guidance from not only the Spokane Regional Health District, but from the State Department of Health, the WIAA, the Governor's Office. Everybody has a lot of input into determining when we can move on and what we can do with the seasons 2 and 3. So we're just waiting to see what happens before we start sending out schedules for those sports. We don't want to overlap. We want to provide as many opportunities to kids as we can, but not at the expense of their health and safety. So we want to make sure when moving forward that we're providing these opportunities for kids, but in the safest, healthiest possible way that we can. So seasons 2 and 3 are yet to be determined, but they'll be coming. With our activities on the next slide, please. You heard a lot from Hannah and Maddie that did a fabulous job kind of outlining what the kids have been doing for some of the activities in this first semester in very challenging times. They just have done an amazing job providing unique opportunities in this virtual world we're living in. When they talked about the club fair, we had over 2,500 hits, which means kids were looking into what clubs they wanted to be in. They're active. We have some clubs that the participation has actually increased since it has been virtual. I think it's provided them an opportunity to attend meetings that they wouldn't have been otherwise able to do. Most of our clubs are continuing those virtual meetings. They will start moving those to in-person and virtual, so kids can continue to participate both continue in person and virtually. Numerous of numerous clubs have had competitions. DECA and Debate are headed into state competitions here shortly. So they've continued to offer those opportunities for kids. If you have had an opportunity to see any of our theater productions, they did 4 radio shows, 3 during the holidays, and then they did an old War of the Worlds, which was just fabulous. If you didn't have a chance to hear it, it was really incredible. You couldn't really even tell they were high school kids doing it. It was so good. Our choir concerts have been online. Our choir teacher has taken music that the kids have played and they have put it together into an amazing concert. Same thing with our orchestra. Really, our teachers and our advisors and our coaches have just been so committed to provide these opportunities for kids. They put together some amazing things, and we're just really proud of the work that they've done. We are also, as Hannah and Maddie mentioned, we are doing a freshman tour tomorrow. And those kids will go through the process of coming into school, but if we have freshmen who are unable to do that, we also will be putting out a video later this week that will show kids the check-in process for coming into the school. And then kids will also have a check-in process for participating in person for any athletics or activities that they do. So we're just looking forward to continuing to offer these opportunities as we transition from the virtual world to back to in-person learning. And we just would really encourage you to keep your kids connected in any of the extracurricular activities that they're interested in, because we know that provides learning opportunities for kids that they don't just get in the classroom. It extends beyond that. So we look forward to seeing them in person and continue to be involved. And Carrie, I think we're back to you.
Thanks, Robin. I wanted to share our Central Valley High School building communication. I know this is a really busy slide. One of the most challenging things during this pandemic has been communication. I want to share with you some of the options that you have as an end user. We always appreciate feedback about communication. Again, it is our goal to make sure that we are communicating in a variety of ways. We have a very strong social media presence. If you're not into social media, we have our websites. We meet each week and go over our website and add up-to-date information. We also have Power School for parents and students regarding assignments, grades, and attendance. And we also use Blackboard and School Messenger to text and email our parents about up-to-date information. So again, if there's anything that we're missing, please let us know. Our motto is to try to have like 3 touches for our families at least on each event or piece of information that we are sending out. At this time, we would like to move to questions and answers, and our moderator, Alex, will take over. Thanks, Alex.
Great. Thank you, Carrie. So first question, there's a few questions in the Q&A, and I should actually mention to everyone, just a reminder that to submit a question, use the Q&A function that's at the bottom of your Zoom screen. You may have to toggle around on the screen a bit for that function to pop up, but that's where you would submit questions. And as Carrie had mentioned earlier, we are seeing all of the questions coming in. We'll get to as many tonight as we can, but the school will be following up to make sure that all of your questions are answered. So we've gotten a few questions about laptop and Chromebooks. It was mentioned that laptop or Chromebooks will be needed. It'll be needed for students to bring those every day to school. If a family has not yet received a Chromebook, how do they do that at this point, sign up to receive a Chromebook?
So I think at this point, if you can reach out to the school, we will fill out a form that we're requesting a Chromebook, and then we will put you on a waiting list. And as we get them in, we will work with you to get one.
Great, thank you. We've had several questions about transportation. So to confirm, can students drive themselves to school? And if so, do these students need to purchase a parking pass for the year? And also, could you say again what entrance those students use for the building?
Yeah, great question. Thank you. So at this time, we are not selling parking passes. So if you're a student driver, come and just park in the student parking lot, which is outside the main entrance or down by the tennis courts. And then you will enter on the north side of the building. So that would be where you enter through the COVID screening station.
Great, thanks. Another question on transportation is around buses. And is there any flexibility for students riding the bus? If they just wanted to ride the bus home occasionally, but not ride in the morning, is that okay? And also, where can families find information on the bus schedule?
We will be sending out a link to the transportation page on Friday with the updated routes for students. And students can follow their typical riding structure. So if they want to ride the bus to school, but then they go home with a family member in a car, or they get a ride to school and then ride the bus home, that's okay. They can ride their assigned route when they need to.
And can I just add, for students who receive special education transportation, they should be receiving a call from the transportation department this week regarding new pickup and drop-off times.
Excellent. The next question is about the school hours. Could you cover what the school hours are again for the in-person days? And should students plan to arrive early for the check-in process?
All right, so another great question. So we're going to have a rolling arrival. So from 7:20 to 7:40 is when a student should come to school. So that'll give us enough time to check in your child and have them go to class. And then class will start at 7:40. Was there a second part to that?
I think that covers it, but did have several questions about sort of what the full school day and school week will look like. So will there be instruction virtually or teacher availability in the afternoons or on the days where students are virtual? And what is the schedule for the days when students are not in person?
So students will follow the same schedule, whether they're working from home that day and attending classes virtually, or if they're in person. So we'll have that rolling start from 7:20 to 7:40, where teachers will be working on some relationship building activities with students as they come in, and then class will start at 7:40. The first 3 classes will be right back to back. So at 7:40, first period will start, and then at 9:05, second period, and at 10:30, third period. All of our classes will go back to back, and then students will have their lunchtime and time to travel home. And the afternoon will be virtual access time, where students can access their teachers for any assistance that they need or additional help. They could also work independently on their assignments. So instead of having smaller chunks of access time throughout the day, we're grouping that at the end of the day to be sure that students are in classes safely and minimizing those transitions to most effectively serve our students while they're on campus. So the class time will be in the morning and the access time will be grouped together in the afternoon.
Great, thank you. Could someone talk a little bit about classroom cleaning and how that happens? Does that happen in between class periods? Are the students responsible to clean their area? And maybe just talk a little bit more about the cleaning protocols that will be happening in the school building.
I could take that one a little bit on the cleaning protocols. Yes. So the desks and rooms in a sense will be cleaned. Mainly the desks, the chairs where the students are sitting will be cleaned in between the transitions from one class to another. And then what was the second part of that question?
Just if there was any other kind of information that you could give on how the school is cleaning, what protocols are happening, maybe what happens in the evening, that sort of thing.
I think, yeah, there are, our custodial staff has just done a fabulous job. There are very specific deep cleaning protocols that are done each night in any classroom, any areas the students have been, the bathrooms, the entire school really is just really cleaned with, I would call it super strength type of cleaning materials that are safe, but yet take care of what they need to take care of. And so each day we start over with a building that has really been clean top to bottom, you know, in addition to all the cleaning that's going on during the day and in between classes that while students are transitioning between classes and throughout the school.
That information can also be found on our cvsd.org website under our reopening plan. And the schedule, the student bell schedule, is on our Central Valley High School website.
Great, thank you. When will families find out which group their student is in, A, B, C, or D?
The student cohorts are by last name, and there's actually a slide in the presentation, but we will also be communicating that via Blackboard. So they'll be getting that information if they missed it in this presentation. But we will, just to review them, I'm not sure if we have that slide or not, but Group A that attends on Monday will be last names A through E. Group B that attends in person on Tuesday would be last names F through K. On Thursday is cohort C, which is last names L through P. And Friday would be cohort D, which is last names Q through Z. If you have a family member, a sibling, step sibling that has a different last name and a different cohort that you need to travel together to school, please reach out to your counselor and we will work to schedule them together in the same cohort so that we can help you with transportation.
I thought it might be good to mention also that on Friday, we emailed out a Return to Learn newsletter, and it has really easy links to the schedule, and it has the cohort information and also the attestation tickets, a link to that. So all that information, you might find it in the email that was sent to you Friday from the school.
Great, thank you. At this point, can students choose to stay virtual instead of coming back into the building? And also, could they choose to stay virtual for not for the rest of the year, but just maybe until there's more days that are in person? What are some of the options at this point for families?
The students are being scheduled based on their learning option. So if a student chooses option 3, which is a self-paced virtual learning model, they will be assigned to classes with other self-paced students and teachers that are teaching virtual courses. If they choose options 1 or 2, they will be assigned to classes where they're getting more direct instruction. So we really need families, because these are scheduled separately, we can't ensure that they'll be able to just change from a self-paced model to an in-person model and make sure that those classes are available that they need. So it's really best if they can just make the best learning option preference for them and their student for at least, well, as long as possible. The semester is best, because if they need a certain class that's only offered in quarter 3 and they switch to a different option for quarter 4 and that class isn't available, we wouldn't be able to schedule that. So picking an option for the rest of the semester, both quarters 3 and 4, is preferred and ensures the best opportunity for your students to get the classes that they need.
Great, thank you so much for all of that information. There's a few folks asking questions about Running Start students who may just have one class at the high school. Could you talk a bit about how that's being handled? What's the plan for them? I know there's some questions about if students are coming in at different times of the day for a particular period, or I would say even just if you know, someone has a doctor's appointment or whatever and needs to come in at a different time. How is that handled?
We will have our main entrance open throughout the day. And again, kids will go through the attestation and temp checks, and we'll have a staff on the door that can help facilitate that. As far as running start, again, we're looking at individual students, and if they may have one class on campus and the rest on the college campuses, but we will have someone helping us at the doors to make sure kids can get in and out throughout the day.
Great, thank you. Can students still sign up for clubs, sports, other activities at this point?
Absolutely. Yeah, the registration for the athletics right now is only for season 1 athletics. So if they were planning on playing golf, for example, that registration hasn't opened. But for the sports that are season 1, they can still register for that. And then all clubs, yes, they definitely can still join.
Great, thank you. Another question for you, I think. Could you talk about what the plan is for band and music? There's some parents asking specifically about wind instruments and singing. Are those programs happening, or what sort of restrictions might there be for those programs?
Yeah, we're still working through that right now. There are restrictions on band and choir both. And so I'd say those are in the works right now, as we just, we don't have all the details worked out yet, but we're working toward getting them going as quickly as possible.
Great, thanks. Lots of questions coming in around packet pickup, and folks wondering if their students can pick up their packet instead of the parent, and also if they could pick up packets for friends or neighbors or other family members so that they don't all need to come to the school.
Yeah, so the packet pickup again, Wednesday and Thursday. If a student wants to come and pick it up, they can. Also, we will be sending out the packet via email through Blackboard or Messenger. And then also, if you have a freshman who's coming to the tour tomorrow, we will give them their packet.
Great, that was my next question, so thanks. Another question around sort of moving in and out of the building. If there is a need to move back to fully virtual learning, what is the plan for that, if there is one at this point, and how is that decision made?
So if I'm understanding the question, like if we had perhaps a rise in cases and needed to go virtual, we are ready to toggle back and forth at any time. Teachers have technology at home. Majority of them have been doing that all year, and that's been an expectation of our district, is that at any moment, even if, for example, if there's a snow day, that we're able to go virtual.
Great, thank you. Could someone talk a bit about mental health support for students, both as they have been virtual so far this year, and then also as they're starting to return in person? What sort of support is being provided for the students?
I think we've shared, we've heard from many families whose kids who are struggling in this virtual environment, just that sense of being alone and not having friends, especially at this time of their life, that, those friendships are so important to them. As a school, the Panorama Survey is also giving us a lot of information and helps us drill down into specifically what's happening with kids. I think the first thing is just treating each other kindly, having our older students embrace our younger students, having them model. Our counseling department is ready. We know that mental health is going to be a big topic that we have to address. We're pretty excited about working with another district on having some mental health interns in our building from Whitworth and Eastern Washington, so that we can really get our arms wrapped around these kids. And again, just that message that please reach out to an adult at the school, your counselor or someone, and we would love that information from a parent or from a student so that we know the appropriate interventions for the kids. Our own student body, as you heard from leadership, they've had mental health awareness weeks. We're really trying to raise awareness And part of that is just being open and honest that many of our students are struggling. And then it's our job to get ready for that and to help them through it.
Thank you. Some folks are asking about advisory class. Could someone address if advisory class is still happening and when and how that class happens?
Advisory is still happening and will be the same as their second period class. And this upcoming quarter, we will start meeting advisory on Wednesday for 30 minutes, and it will be after second period on Wednesdays.
Great, thank you. A question about the dismissal at the end of the day, and I know that it was mentioned that it was a staggered dismissal. Could you just talk through what that looks like, and especially for parents who need to be here to pick up their kids, how they know when and where to show up?
Yeah, so that first staggered dismissal is going to be students who walk home. So we will get on the intercom and dismiss the walkers. After that, we'll get back on the intercom and dismiss any students who have driven themselves. Followed by at 12 o'clock, any student who's been picked up by a family member, parent, or guardian. And we'll do the pickup the same as the drop off. And so on that first week, we'll set out cones. So it should be real user friendly. You know where to drive and you know where to drop your student off. And then at the end of the day, you can just follow that same route to pick them up.
And those maps are in the presentation, and we will email out a link so that parents have that visual too about the drop-offs and pickup areas.
Great. A couple questions on sort of the health and safety of the kids. Have there been any modifications to classrooms to follow COVID regulations or guidance? And also, how does passing in the halls work? What are some of the expectations for students at that time?
So first, the classrooms have been really totally redone. They have been marked off to meet all of the social distancing guidelines. The desks are all facing the same way. So we have followed all of the health protocols that have been provided by the Department of Health and the Spokane Regional Health Department to set up the classroom as safely as possible. So there's a limitation too on how many kids can be in a classroom at one time. And then when it comes to the hallways and moving, we have created a one-way flow of traffic. We kind of jokingly call our commons a little mini roundabout where kids can kind of turn into there to make sure they peel off into the correct hallways in the correct direction. So it'll take some training and some adaptation, but it's really the safest way to have all the kids moving in the same direction at the same time and not having them cross over with each other while they're moving from classroom to classroom. And we're so excited to have the kids back, and 400 to 500 kids seems like a lot, but like Principal Ames said, the school was built for 1,600, and 400 or 500 kids in this building for us will seem very manageable. It will seem pretty small. I mean, it's not going to be packed to the gills like it has been. So, that's one of the really, really nice things and benefits of starting out with this ABCD schedule is making sure that all of our safety protocols and processes are working like they are to provide that safe environment for the kids. So one of those things are the classroom setup and that one-way traffic that we're going to be training the students as well as the teachers on using.
We currently, today we had some students at the school who are also creating a video that will come out hopefully on Thursday so that all of our student body can watch the video and actually see what it looks like before they get here next week. So they will be able to see what one-way traffic looks like, how to do the attestation, check station, locations of classrooms, meal pickup, and all of that. And as you saw from our leadership students earlier, they're much better at creating videos and than we are. So we're pretty excited that that will be coming out in the next few days.
Thank you. Couple questions on sports. Will there be an overlap of sports? And if so, how will that be addressed, or is that a non-issue?
Unfortunately, maybe. I mean, the answer is maybe. We don't know with that season 2 and 3. We're trying really hard not to stack or overlap sports, but just depending on when we get moved to phase 2, it may happen. And then we'll just have to address it when we get there. I mean, I'm sure all coaches will be very understanding. It's not just for the kids. We have coaches who coach multiple sports, so it's difficult for them to overlap seasons also. So as we get there, we'll just have to address it and see. We want to do as little of that as possible. But if it means, overlapping so we can get a season in and provide that opportunity for students, we'll probably go ahead. But we're really looking not to do more than 1 week of overlap.
Great, thank you. Another sports question is if families will be able to attend any of the sporting events.
That's a great question. Right now, under the state guidelines in phase 1, there are no spectators allowed at any of the sporting events. If we get to move to phase 2, you can have a total of 200 people at an event. However, that does include participants as well as spectators. So it just right now depends on the sporting event. And then, as things have been pretty fluid since last March, things can change. So as of right now, those are what the rules are.
Great, thank you. I know that you're having to be very flexible at this time. One other question on sports is when practice would happen. Is it right after school?
Another great question. Really depends on the coaches. We're sitting down with them to set up times that work for their teaching schedules, as well as making sure the students have to go through the protocols to do the sports, just like they do coming into the school. Not so much gym space this time. We're pretty good there, but we just have to sit down as a group of coaches and figure out what's going to work for everybody. So the coaches will be getting in touch with the kids once they register online. They'll have a list of the contacts for the kids, and they'll be sending out emails as to when their practices will be. So it will vary from sport to sport.
Great, thank you. A few questions from families with students who attend New Tech. Are there buses for students who need to transition from New Tech to the high school or vice versa? And is there a grace period for those students arriving late if they're in transit?
We have not had New Tech transportation this year, but New Tech, we have been talking to them about making sure that we schedule students who need to be on our campus for a cohort and need to attend their New Tech classes. So we will make sure that we schedule so that the students can attend both. And there will definitely be some grace in the transfer between their New Tech class that ends when our next class starts. And we will support students through that. And if that doesn't work for them, we can help students sign up for a class that is self-paced if they prefer to not have the struggle of trying to get from one to the other. So we will work to accommodate them. And if they want to reach out to their counselor, they can help make sure that they're appropriately placed.
Great, thank you. Lots of questions coming in. It might be my fault for how I teed up this one before about the Chromebooks and laptops. Are students able to use a personal laptop versus a district provided Chromebook? They just need to have either or, is that correct?
Yes, they can bring their personal laptop if they would like, or the school Chromebook.
Great, thank you. Could someone address lunch, please, and know if lunch is available at the school, how that happens, if students are allowed to or are encouraged to bring their own lunches from home?
Lunches so the kids that are coming on campus, when they exit the building, they will be given a lunch a box lunch that consists of 5 lunches and 5 breakfasts. That is available to every single student as they leave. So they will, we won't be serving lunch or having lunch on campus at all. I shouldn't say that at all. There are some kids that are staying afterwards that we will have lunch provided to them physically on campus, but the vast majority of kids, when they come physically, they will be given a lunch and breakfast for 5 days because they're only there that one as they exit the building.
Thank you. And I see that we're at 7 o'clock. I'm just going to ask one more question. There's a few people who have asked, how can people help at this time? Are there any volunteer opportunities, any needs that the school has right now that a parent or a family member could come in and volunteer, or is that not an opportunity at this time?
At this time, I'm not sure that we can have, more volunteers in the class. The one thing I love that parents are asking, how can we help? And I really think it's, supporting the work that we're doing. We may not always agree on how we move forward, but what we can agree on is that we care about our kids, we care about our community. We want them to be able to have a safe environment, for us to be able to work through some of those mental health issues. So just communicating with us is so important about your child, and letting them know that it's going to be okay, and that we have a strong community. We are CV, so we are going to get through this, and just, again, having grace and kindness, I think is the main thing. Great question.
Great. Well, I'll end it with the questions there. I do know that some people asked if this recording was going to be shared or how they could access some of the information that was shared today. So all of this will be posted on the school's website, the recording to this webinar, as well as the presentation and information that were shared during the webinar. Great. Well, thank you all so much for joining. I really appreciate all of the panelists and Ms. Ames for your leadership, and I wish you all the best. So thank you so much to everyone for joining.
Thank you so much. Thank you, CVHS families.